be easy to worship them. We get engaged. There are other times when I'm convinced God just withholds the manifestation of His presence from us. And I think that more than anything else, that's just a heart test. It's just for us to recognize, even if everything just seems flat and dull, God is still here. God is still worthy to be worshipped and praised, even if I'm not jumping up and down excited about it. He is still worthy. And so I still voice that praise to Him because He's worthy of it. But we need to recognize He's here no matter what. Third thing is this: focus your mind on truth. In other words, don't give in to worry. The people became impatient on the way and they grumbled. Why'd you bring us out of Egypt to die in this desert? There's no bread, there's no water, and we hate this terrible food. See, they just started focusing on all the negative stuff and again started blaming and all of that. But the antidote to this is be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Psalm 37 says this: do not fret, it only leads to evil. And so once again, recognize God's with you. Focus on God's truth. Meditate on God's truth. That's why we encourage the memorization of Scriptures, to meditate on God's truth. In fact, Romans 15:4, and this is a verse that's not in your notes, it says, "For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through endurance and the encouragement of the Scriptures we might have hope." Okay, get that. The stuff that's been written in the past, that means all the Bible up to that point. It's been written to encourage us so that we can have endurance and hope. So knowing the big picture of the Bible so we can pick it up and read it in the individual parts and understand what it's saying and then set our minds on it and meditate on it is just crucial to our faith growing. That's one of the reasons that we invited Bill Jackson to come here. And I decided actually to have this part, instead of having this part during the announcements earlier, I wanted to put this part right here because we need to know the Bible, folks. We need to know it. And this opportunity, when we have him here to do this seminar, Nothing's Going to Stop It, I think it's September 24th, 25th, and 26th, is going to be an opportunity for all of us really to move ahead in our understanding of the Bible. Let's watch the video clip right now, okay? This is a video clip that we want to show to you. It's about the seminar, and I encourage you to just sit back and enjoy this and then sign up after the service. Okay, so just to give you that little taste of that, that's Jax is an exciting speaker. He's clear, and do whatever you have to do. My encouragement is do whatever you have to do to be here for that and to take advantage of this opportunity really to grow. Fourth thing is this: be courageous. In other words, don't give up. The Israelites in Numbers 12, 2 through 4 came to the point they wanted to go back. It's one thing to look back. It's another thing altogether to start making plans to go back. They were ready to start making plans to go back to Egypt. And so, this whole idea, when we start to say "if only," and that's what they said, if only we had stayed there, if only we had made different choices, that's the result of looking back. And we're in trouble when we start saying "if only" too much. We're really getting into trouble if that's the case. And then the whole idea of going back, they would rather go back into slavery than to press ahead into freedom because they didn't trust God. They weren't trusting His work in their lives, and they didn't know what to do with this whole delay. Now, as I underlined this sentence in preparation for the message, I really felt like it was something that some of our people here needed to hear specifically. And so I'm just going to read it to you, and it's this: don't settle for less than God's best for your life. Okay? Don't settle for anything less than God's best for your life. That's what they were willing to chuck it all and just to go back and survive. Don't settle for survival. Don't settle for anything less than the fullness and the best that God has for you. And that means that we have to persevere. We have to keep going, even during the delays. And when it doesn't work, we keep going and keep trusting. Actually, Bill Jackson shared this story with us. He was our small group leader at one time. Bill said that they were out and doing some servant evangelism in the neighborhood. This is the guy who was just on the screen, Bill Jackson. And they raked this guy's leaves in his yard, and then Bill asked him if he could pray for him, and the guy said, well, yeah, okay. And asked him, what do you need prayer for? And the guy said, well, I'm blind in this eye. And so Bill said he prayed for his eye. Nothing happened. He started to walk away. The guy goes in the house and closes the door. And he gets to the end of the sidewalk, and God spoke to him and said, go back and pray for him again. And so Jack said, okay. So he goes back, knocks on the door again. Sorry, this might sound kind of odd, but really felt like I wanted to pray for you again. Is that okay? And the guy says, sure, go ahead. And so he cupped his hand over the guy's eye and prayed for him again, and took his hand away, and nothing. And no healing or anything took place. So he says, okay, sorry. He's walking away, and he gets down to the sidewalk, and a third time God spoke to him and said, go back and pray for this guy one more time. Or I don't know if he said one more time, but go back and pray for him again. And so you can imagine, this took a lot of nerve. The third time you're knocking on this guy's door, knocks on the door again and says, sir, do you mind if I pray for you one more time? Put his hand over his eye, prayed for him, took his eye away, said the guy's mouth dropped open, his eyes opened wide. And he said, I can see that just an amazing miracle took place. But what if he had just prayed for him once? What if he had just prayed for him twice? What if he hadn't gone back that third time? What if he hadn't persevered through the roadblocks and the delays? He wouldn't have seen that happen. And for you and for me, we need to press through the delay period. Hold on. Trust God. Open our hearts up and say, God, I want to learn and grow in every way I can during this time. Do everything you want to do in my life through it. Last point, I'll just give you the thrust of it. It's remember God's goodness. Don't forget. Remember God's goodness. Don't forget. Look back over your life. If you're going to look back and remember all the good things God's given. Remember the story I just told you about Jack's praying for that guy. Remember the times God's touched your life and other people through you, and don't give up. Keep going. Trust God through the delay periods, because that's how we get through this whole phase into the deliverance, and we have to persevere through it. And our faith grows in the process. So now, what we're going to do, we are going to receive our offering, and we're also going to receive communion, and we're going to worship. And so I'm going to ask the worship band to make their way down, and also the ushers, and those that are going to be serving communion. If you would get up at this time and make your way to the back and get the materials that you need in preparation for communion.